going to take refuge under this tree here to discuss my point. Sort of got a roof of foliage over me. So the basic point I wanted to bring up is that I am constantly uncomfortable. I exist essentially in a constant state of discomfort. And I don't know if this is a universal human experience or if this is something that is unique to, well, it's obviously not unique to me, but people in my life that I try to explain this to don't seem to understand it, or if they do, they don't seem to attribute the same level of weight to it when they consider the implications of what this means. But essentially, no matter what time of day, no matter what I'm doing, I am in either physical or psychological pain, oftentimes both. It might be my back, it might be I've had a poor quality of sleep, it might be that I've gone for a walk and now my body is fatigued and tired, it might be that I try to eat food, I try to fulfill a basic human task and it feels like it inflicts damage upon me. I try to eat food and I don't get the hunger cues. I try to eat, but when I do eat, instead of giving me energy, it makes me tired, it makes me sleepy. I wake up in the morning and I eat breakfast, and I just feel like going back to bed. And part of that is maybe that's a part of depression, but it's definitely directly tied to the food that I try to intake. It's just constant. My back, my spine, my neck, walking around, I'm in constant discomfort because I'm acutely aware of the fact that I exist in this meat suit, this skeleton, and gravity is constantly working against me, just grinding me down into the ground. And no one else really that I talk to seems aware of this. Then there's a psychological level, even the metaphysical level of discomfort that I am also constantly suffering in. The existential dread, the dread of being acutely having a superfluous, it seems, level of consciousness of myself. It's like every second I'm acutely aware of the fact that it's like it refreshes every single second, and I recursively become aware that I'm aware, that I'm aware, that I'm aware, on and on ad infinitum, and it never ends. I don't think humans are meant to be this aware. I don't think any creature is meant to be this aware. Even now, thankfully, I've had my tonic, I've had some alcohol, and so I'm not as acutely aware as I would be if I was sober, which is also why I'm able to be out here in public, in a park, and, I'm not suffering the usual acute psychological background anxiety that I would be otherwise experiencing. The existential dread and the psychological discomfort is, in a way, worse than the physical discomfort. The physical discomfort doesn't carry with it the same weight that the psychological, metaphysical, existential, whatever you want to call it, suffering does. Because as I go on, increasingly minute things seem to trigger these episodes of panic in me. Like I said, even just looking out of my eyes often does it. So there's a constant baseline. There's a constant baseline discomfort that I experience every single day, immediately as soon as I wake up. But then there are small triggers that oftentimes exacerbate this, and it can depend just on the mood that I'm in, how much this is going to take effect and bring me down, cause me anxiety, extract me from baseline reality that everyone else around me seems to comfortably exist in. It's things as small as, it's primarily biological actions which cause this anxiety reflex in me. It's eating, it's using the bathroom, and it is physical and verbal exclamations. It's physical and, for example, I could be outside and I might be walking down the street, or watching a television show, and I will hear a character laugh in that show, and to my ears I don't hear a human laughing. I'm just acutely aware that what I hear is an ape. It sounds exactly like an ape, and then I'm reminded that that's all we are, and that I'm here on this strange planet in this bizarre place experiencing this, trapped in this skull, and I don't know what to do about it. And immediately I just feel alienated from myself and my surroundings. This happened a little while ago. It's happened many times, but an instance that I can recall right now is my uncle, who was at a family gathering quite similar to one that I've just exited right now. Sorry, I didn't realize that the camera was so fucked up. I really should have brought an umbrella with me. This tree has not it's not providing a great shelter for me right now. Let's see. There is a proper shelter over there, although I will be exposed to any potential people that might be around. Not that there's likely to be any. I might venture up this way first. This way looks a bit more interesting. So as I was saying, my uncle laughed, and immediately I was it feels almost like it's like a visceral physical extraction from the setting, and I'm pulled back, and it's almost like I'm no longer human, and I'm viewing the scenario from this godlike spectator perspective, wherein every single filter that we take for granted, the fact that any of this makes sense to me right now is because I have experienced the sensation of gravity, the sensation of walking. This environment is all I have known. Every waking second I've been acclimatized to being inside of this body, looking at these shapes, at these colors, at these sounds. But it's almost like that suddenly is stripped away. Everything, it's like in the Doors of Perception, Aldous Huxley talks about when he took, I believe it was mescaline in the 50s or 60s, the analogy that he used to describe the sensation that he got from taking that substance was, it felt as though the brain works as a valve. The brain works as a valve to limit the amount of, I forget exactly what words he used to describe this, but mind at large is the word that's coming into my head. It's almost like the brain works as a limiting device to stop excessive information overflowing, and that's what it feels like. It feels like as soon as I hear these triggers, it's like this valve is just completely turned off, and rather the valve becomes ineffectual, and too much information is allowed to flow into me, and I'm laid bare as this scared, naked ape that is alone in this hostile environment. And it's especially alienating as I see that no one else around me seems to grasp this. They just hear a human man laughing. The other major thing that does this is going to the bathroom. This is something that is often joked about and is very common, toilet humor. It's a very common, low-grade, childish, ubiquitous type of humor that's thrown around all the time. A lot of the, ubiquitous slang terms in most languages involve something to do with feces, urine, shit. It's such a universal experience that, of course, it would be applied as a negative adjective. But just using the bathroom every day is such a degrading and base act that I seriously, in that moment it might sound extreme, but in the moment when I'm having to do that, I feel I don't want to exist anymore. I almost feel like suicidally depressed in the moment when I'm on the toilet each day. It sounds absurd, it sounds comedic, but it's not. I've been a bit dissociated. I'm just taking a moment to appreciate the fact that I'm in this beautiful park, surrounded by these beautiful trees, in the rain. I need to soak in this moment because it will not last. Yeah, so another thing is food. The fact that we need to consume nutrients, oftentimes in the form of the dead flesh of other creatures, and this is not coming from the perspective of someone who is vegan or even vegetarian, though at times I definitely feel as though I should be, given my view of things. I feel as though I'm not being true to myself by eating these creatures when it brings me such distress. A little while ago, my cat ended up attacking a bird in our yard, and she had brought it inside, and it was still alive, and it had hid under the couch, and I eventually rescued it, or so I thought, and brought it outside into the yard, and I intended to set it free, and I thought I was doing a good deed, but it sort of hopped off. It didn't fly away, and it hopped off into the bushes, and I sort of tried to ignore it. I went back inside, but then I realized that really this bird was probably just sitting there in the bush with broken wings, broken bones, slowly dying. And so I decided that I had to go in there, and I had to kill it myself. And so I went outside, I found it, I searched around in the bushes, and sure enough, there it was, sitting there, laying there actually on its back, with its eyes slowly opening and closing, with its wings sort of, legs and wings spread-eagled. And I realized that in that moment that I had to be the one to kill it, as my pathetic cat just wanted to toy with it and torture it. And I rushed upstairs and I looked up a tutorial of how to, by a hunter, of how to end the suffering of small game animals, how to sever the neck. And so I put on a glove, I held it in my hands, I looked at it, and I snapped its neck and pulled its head off. I broke its neck and, severed its head, and that left me feeling so poorly. That left a really big, it made a really large impact on me. And I digress. That's a bit of a tangent, but What was that meant to be again? That was meant to be an explanation for why I feel as though, although this is not meant to be a vegan vegetarian rant, why I feel as though I should become one, as the concept of thinking about the food chain, the cycle of life and death, and the consumption of the essence of other creatures just horrifies me. It is such a destabilizing feeling to realize that we can build up these, we can push death away into these small arenas. We can, slaughterhouses, these sorts of things. We can try to slaughterhouses and, graveyards, all of these things. Death in contemporary 21st century first world living is a concept that we desperately want to flee from, but we live in an actively hostile environment. Every second that I've been speaking, I've had to breathe to get the oxygen, to oxygenate my blood, and I've been dehydrating every single second. I'm applying pressure as gravity is trying to push me towards the ground. I'm wary of the fact that I'm out in a park and that there might be, if not hostile creatures, another hostile human that might wish me harm. And the same thing for all the creatures around me. There's a bird over there in the distance that is, will be wary of me because it instinctively knows that it lives in hell. It lives in a prison world that necessitates suffering. There is no escape from this. The only escape is to kill oneself. And even that produces more suffering, both for the person that has to go through with it. Psychologically, the idea of killing oneself. We come from such a long lineage of people, such a long lineage of creatures that have valued survival and have procreated and have survived, that we just have such a fear of it. And even if, the physical pain, depending on what method you use, the psychological fear beforehand, and then even further, the pain that is inflicted often on the family of those that, have the person in their, in their close circle that has committed suicide. And even then, I used to be a very sort of hardline atheist, but I have since moved past that and am now firmly agnostic. I do not pretend to know anything anymore. I believe it's a Philip K. Dick quote, I think, it's not only is, sorry, I'm a bit drunk, reality is not only stranger than we suppose, it is stranger than we can suppose. And that's essentially the point that I'm trying to get across, is this notion, I think the words that come into my mind are something that I hear Osaka Syndrome bring up a lot, something to do with living in the strange world, the bizarre world, strange land, something like that. That's essentially the metaphysical space that I feel I have been inhabiting for a while now. I exist in this kind of void, it feels like, between the, not to sounds very pretentious, but I feel like I'm almost not even human. I'm almost not a living creature at this point, because I'm not firmly grounded in the traditions, in the state of mind that a creature needs in order to continue continue on with. You know, I really don't care about anything in the world. I don't care about finding a partner. I don't care about having. I plan to stay celibate my entire life. I don't plan to ever have a wife. I don't care about having a house. It's unrealistic anyway. I don't care about having a car. I don't care about getting a university degree. You know, the biological mechanisms that keep me here necessitate that I consume food and water, but were I not to feel the pains associated with foregoing these activities, I might just lay down on the ground and let myself dehydrate and starve to death. I don't know. I don't really know what the point of this video was. I think it's just a way for me to rant, to try to reach out and maybe connect with other individuals that might feel the same way, but feel deeply alienated and have no other avenues really to discuss such things, as they are seen as deeply taboo. The rain has gotten a bit too heavy for me to be out. I'm going to make my way over to this little shelter over here. Not before I admire this bridge one last time. It's truly beautiful. As I said earlier, I've been thinking of getting some new shots with my. I have a far better camera. I think it's a Canon camera. I don't recall what the model is, but I could get some far higher definition shots and just do some more interesting things with it. I think this is already a bit overplayed, this, you know, very lo-fi, edgy aesthetic. Here we are at the table. What do we have here? Cannabis, a bong, and a joint. Lovely. Something else that I was considering today was I saw a user on Dempachan made a post linking to their archive.org channel that they have recently started. And while I've not watched their full videos, from what I did see, they seemed like quite good content, but more than that, it was the actual location that they posted on, as I said, archive.org, that made me think, is YouTube really the best place for me to post these? Because while I'm grateful for the Osaka Syndrome shout-out, the Minta Dempa shout-out, I don't know if I really desire a large audience. I think that being on the platform itself sort of psychologically manipulates you. It's sort of like this unconscious process, and I can feel it even in myself. The first video that I put out, low resolution Dempa Dreams, I just chose the auto selected thumbnail, and I didn't put much. The name just popped into my mind. I didn't put any real effort into coming up with a name that I thought would be catchy or would draw a large number of viewers. And yet, after the relative to the niche success of the video, as you can see in Magic and Mushrooms, I wanted the name to be a bit more catchy. I wanted the thumbnail to be a bit more, to catch the eye a bit more, and this is You know, you can see I'm already trying to game the system. My brain wants more attention, and this is something that I want to fight against. I don't want these platforms to manipulate me. The largest irony of the people that all these retards on, you know, image boards and stuff posting, you know that image, the Pepe with the poster like "You're not immune to propaganda." It's incredibly ironic. They're posting propaganda that they have taken in without a second thought, while, you know, trying to take the moral high ground on the people that they're sharing it with. And, you know, I'm sorry to say, but I'm not immune to propaganda, as much as I might be sort of on the fringe of many things. You know, I don't use TikTok, I don't use Instagram. I'm filming this on a dumb phone right now. I refuse to use a smartphone. I don't keep up with internet drama. I try to distance myself as much as I can from current happenings and politics. But I still find myself, you know, I'm still human, unfortunately. And so these neural pathways still exist that pump dopamine into my brain when I see the little thumbs up icon with a larger number next to it. You know, when I play RuneScape and the number goes up, I feel happy. It's the same thing. And so I was thinking of migrating my channel over to archive.org. And this would do nothing to influence the actual content that I upload, but it would just mean that I'm taking another step away from Google, because unfortunately there is another channel I have that I won't mention. It's nothing like this. It's sort of this art that I produce, and unfortunately I've been doing that for a number of years now, and so I'm shackled to Google in this way, and I wish I wasn't. And seeing as this channel is so new, I thought, while I still have the chance, I may as well create as much distance between myself and Google.com as I can. So I'll decide. Maybe at the end of this video even, I might provide a link for the channel, or I might make a new video next that sort of has the link to it. But as I say, the alcohol's wearing off now, but I honestly can't call much of this rant. I've sort of just been very much in the moment, watching the words exit my mouth. So I hope that there's been some through line to it. I hope that it's been semi-intelligible and consistent, and there's not just been retarded ramblings about my own unimportant mental landscape. But we'll see.